it. Yeah.
So you were born where?
Born in the States, born in actually in Queens, in Elmhurst, Queens. Very uh, the section actually where it's very predominantly Filipino, Sunnyside. So 91st and Elmhurst Avenue. Still have our apartment there today. We're renting it out, but yeah, that's where I was born. Went Was in Catholic school up until third grade, St. Bart's, and then moved to Long Island, Valley Stream, and then yeah,
So your
that's
parents were born in the Philippines.
yes, yeah, they absolutely yeah. They're
Uh,
my mom's from Manila, dad's from Cebu.
Are they still around or?
Yeah, yeah, they're living in Massapequa. They're still alive. They're still here. Yeah.
It's funny because a few months ago I was driving Filipino the elders, and I think it was around Massapequa, so it could have been your parents for all I know.
Drive. What do you mean driving? Like
I'm an Uber driver.
you did? Yes, you mentioned. Where? Yeah, I mean,
I don't remember exactly where, but it was around there. It was around there for
well,
sure.
I mean, I'm sure they're not the only Filipinos in Massapequa, but
Right.
yeah,
Well,
that, that
remember though, there aren't that many Filipinos in Long Island. There's not that many.
yeah, there's not as many as obviously Italians and stuff like that, but
Uh-huh.
there's a good amount. I mean, there's definitely there's a pocket of us. You know what I mean?
So
Yeah.
actually, my first question that I usually ask, which I kind of skipped accidentally,
Okay.
is generally, how have you been? And I want the realest answer that I can get. Don't give me the good, the fine.
Don't. Yeah.
Give me the realest answer that you can give me.
Okay. How have I been in terms of just today, last
No, in
week?
terms of, let's say, the past few weeks, how have you been?
Honestly, okay. Real answer. No, no BS bullshit. I don't know if we can curse or whatever.
Yes, you can.
It's been happy. It's been good. It's been great. Like my daughters are obviously doing well, and work is good. So but of course the normal, kind of stressful things that go on. Um, but honestly, the honest truth, it's been happy. It's been great. It's been good. Just the normal kind of up and down stuff would work. Um, but that's it. Yeah,
Yeah, so
it's
it's such a fresher breath air because nowadays I feel like so many people are struggling with happiness and mental health and
yeah,
depression and anxiety. So it's such a breath of fresh air to hear
yeah.
someone doing well, you know?
Well, again, listen, my definition of doing well, other people are like, oh, he's, that's a lie. No one, listen, are there times where, my kids are sleeping and I'm up and I'm thinking about work and I'm stressed, but am I unhappy? 100% no. You know what I mean? Like, that's for sure. Am I stressed? Like, is it a good stress, bad stress? Absolutely. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's normal, I think.
So what would you define as like a good stress and a bad stress? What is your understanding of that?
Good stress is like, I guess I would say, it's like, oh, I have to, tomorrow we have this meeting, and it's stressful, but if all goes well, it's going to be good for the company. It's going to be good for the business. You
Right.
know what I mean? That's good stress. Pretty standard, pretty black and white. Um, and what bad stress?
Right. What is bad stress?
Bad stress is like, things are just not looking good for. And again, I'm talking personal and business. Things are just not looking good. Obviously that's going to kind of trickle. It's going to be a domino effect. For personal life. And that can be for anything. So, yeah,
It sounds to me like good stress is often a choice. It's often something that we take on, like a responsibility, and bad stress is maybe something that we didn't choose, right?
yeah. I don't think anyone wants to kind of choose bad, hopes for bad stress. I think it is what it is. You kind of have to take it as it comes, and if it is, when it does, I try to divert it, and try to change it into good stress. You
So
know what I
you
mean?
mentioned you have kids. How many kids do you have?
3 girls, baby, 3 girls.
Wow. Yeah, what
Yeah,
is that like?
stressful,
I bet.
stressful, but good stress. Listen, yeah, every morning. So I have a pretty consistent routine. I mean, one's in pre-K, one's in middle school, one's about to finish elementary and going to middle school, and it's stressful. But so talking about good stress, to me that's like I get up five no later than five for some reason every day, and it's just like a routine. And I don't mean it. I don't want it to sound like, oh my god, it's such a boring routine, but it's what I look forward to. Like I alternate. We carpool with a buddy of ours, and Monday, Tuesday, I drive. I pick up one of my daughter's friends.
To the office.
No, what was that?
To school or to the
No, to
office?
school, to school.
Oh, to
So that's the
school.
thing. So every morning, and they have to be there at middle school at like 7-ish. So
Interesting.
I pick up a friend that lives 2 blocks down, and then that's Monday and Tuesday, Wednesday and Thursday. They pick up. So again, it's routine. I don't want it to sound boring, but that's what my morning's like. And I want that consistency. And then I come back, wake up my middle child, my middle daughter that's in elementary. You know, make sure she's good. She's up. She's doing her hygiene. If she wants to eat. Then I have my little one who's in pre-K. She's always she's a tough. She's tough to get up. My wife is she's my wife. She's sleeping. She's hard. She's harder to get up. But once she's up, I'm making her lunch. And then depending on the weather, my middle child has to walk down the block to her friend's house, and they walk to school, which is right across the. It's not too far. And then when she's off, around 8:15, 8:20, I take my little one to Holy Family and drop her off, and then head to the office from there. So that's my morning.
That sounds like a busy morning, man.
It is, yeah, it is, and again, it all depends on them too. If they sleep late, it's harder to get them up. But at the end of the day, 95, 99% of the time, my oldest one is she's up, she's doing her own thing, she's very self-sufficient. Even my middle child, she's up, and it's my little one. But stressful, but that's good stress to me. You know what I mean? That's good
Did
stress.
your wife work too?
Yeah, she's a nurse, but she does a lot of telehealth teaching. She does a lot of teaching right now. So she's home, I would say, 85, 90% of the time, but she is out in the field, still sometimes seeing patients. But for the most part, she's home in our home office, and she's doing a lot of stuff on, virtually.
Is she also Filipina?
She is, yeah.
She fit the stereotype of the Filipino nurse.
Well, no, I mean, she is, and I love her for this because when we first met, we had no kids. I was in real estate. She was actually in stocks and and mortgages. So it's very high pace, stressful, commission. And then when we found out we were having Mia, our first daughter, she was like, "Hey, listen, I get it. I know you want to stick to what you're doing," and I was doing okay with that. But she, she made the decision to become a nurse, and so one parent should always have like the steady income, especially when we're about to have a baby. And speaking of that, well, I'll tell you how I had a huge anxiety breakdown attack before, like weeks before my first daughter was born. But we'll get into that later if you want. But yeah, she went to school for nursing, and I think it was the right choice, and we're here now.
Yeah, I would like to hear that story if you want to share it. I'd like to hear it.
Yeah. You want to get right into it? Sure. So
If you're okay with that.
yeah, absolutely. So doing real, I was 2013. I guess it was like around 2000, whatever it was, 2012. It was literally weeks before my wife was about to give birth to our first, to me, it's our first born. I was in the city doing rentals, doing sales, still kind of, it was right after the crash, so it was tough. It was hard. But I remember it vividly. So I was with a very boutique real estate company, and we were in the office, 24th and Broadway, and I was just sitting at my desk talking about deals, and then we were eating lunch or something like that. But I just started feeling weird. I just started feeling like, all right, what's going on? My body, physically, mentally, I felt weird. And then I just said, all right, let me just stand up and I just I'll speed it up. And long story short, I stood up and I just started feeling heart attack symptoms, right? And I was like, okay,
Anxiety? Is that anxiety?
it was, yeah, but I didn't know that at the time. I literally thought I was actually having a heart attack because it was left arm went numb.
Wow.
I was disoriented. I couldn't speak. I was my pain in my left arm, like everything. Like, because remember, an anxiety attack and a heart attack very close in symptoms, right?
Interesting. Yep. Yep.
So I was like, okay, I'm sitting at my desk, and these are I still talk to them today to this day. And I stood up. I was like, okay, something's wrong. I walk over to my broker at the time, and I was like, hey, Odie, everything's good, and I said it so nonchalantly. I was like, Odie, I think you might need to call the ambulance. I said something like 911 or something like that. She was like, what? I was like, I think I'm having a heart attack. I said it so nonchalant. She was like, what? She jumped up and she was like, because she saw me, and I think everyone was like, sit down, and she called, and long story short, it was a very severe anxiety panic attack, because it wasn't a heart attack. Because when they came in, they took me down to the truck. They took my EKG, and there was no signs of cardiac arrest or anything like that. It was just a panic attack, and it made sense because I was just thinking, my God, my deal's pending. I'm about to have a daughter, so that kind of led to that anxiety attack. But they still took me to Bellevue, just did some more tests, and it turned out to be it was just a severe anxiety attack.
And this was because of the first child coming.
I think so. It was, yeah. It was me thinking like, all right, I got my daughter coming in a few weeks. I got some deals pending, but they're not done yet. You don't know how it is in real estate, and I guess I was just thinking too much into it, and then it turned into it led to that, and again I had some small ones after that. I learned how to kind of deal with it, but that was like very severe because I thought I was having a heart attack. So that was very scary in itself. But good thing it wasn't. It was just an anxiety attack, and they said, "Listen, it's natural, it's normal. Just kind of learn how to deal with it. If you feel
well, what I was going to say is that the crazy part is that the anxiety is actually justified. Like it's your first child. You're bringing them into this messed up world.
right, yeah,
Like, how do you like? I'm not a parent, so I always wonder, like, how do you cope with knowing that you have children in this cold world?
yeah,
How do you, how do you,
exactly.
how do you cope with that?
Dude, I don't think any parents really ready for it. I mean, yeah, you try to, all right, let's, we plan to have, you're never prepared. And I think you just, whether it's financially, whether it's emotionally, whether it's physically, you just, I think I was what, 26, 27, 20, my 20s. And so I'm like, I'm kind of still a kid, and I'm about to bring a kid into this world. So yeah, I don't think you can really cope with it. You just kind of you have to. There's no amount of books that you can read. There's no, there's friends and family that can say, just this is what you have to do. Everyone is different, and at that time, especially the crash just happened in 2008. So it was a crazy time. So I just dealt with it how I was, and unfortunately, I was a victim of a severe panic attack.
Yeah, and I did want to talk about kids, so this is a perfect time because I don't know if you know this, but the birth rate is declining at a very, very fast rate. Like people are having less and less
Less
kids.
kids.
I don't know
Yeah.
if you noticed, but like people in their 20s and 30s, a lot of them are not trying to have kids anymore.
Yeah, family like listen, we love you, we love you, we love our nephews, nieces, but we're done, we're good. You know what I mean? It's just
So what is your response to that? What is your response to I don't want kids? What is your response to that?
I would never go back and say I would never have my daughter Mia, Jessa, run like I would never. I would never regret it. However, whether it's political or financial or I think it's a choice, and it's their choice. But for me, I can't see right now. It doesn't matter what type of economy we're in and who's president. And again, I'm not trying to get into political, but I can't see myself without them. Me and my wife, we can't see. So, but I do get it. I do get it. It's expensive. It's like the school system. Forget about it. Like like the shootings and just the way things are. Like like they're not. I think schools right now should be teaching how to podcast, teaching how to monetize off social media.
Real estate.
It's real estate, right? Like it's still the same as when we were kids. English, history, I think the only two subjects that we should really know is English and mathematics and basic math. Forget this core math BS. I think
I think psychology too. Psychology.
psychology good, yeah, of course, yeah. But I'm just talking about like in elementary right now,
Oh,
like
okay.
how to add, subtract, and multiply. You know what I mean? And then what else? Yes, of course, psychology. History is cool. I guess the saying. You have to kind of know where you came from to know where you're going. But other than that, why aren't they teaching financial literacy?
They don't teach stocks. They don't
No,
teach real estate. They don't teach LLCs, S corps.
nothing,
They don't teach
nothing.
any of that.
And I hate to say it, those teachers can't do it because most of them are broke. They're not capable. They're not qualified to
They're
teach
not
us.
business. There's not business people. Most of them.
No, no,
Yeah.
no, they're not. They're just getting paid a salary, and that's it. It obviously college changes. There's different courses you can take now, but I'm not saying YouTube, university is the only thing to learn, but
Huh.
I just think it's still kind of like it's not. It's I don't know. I don't know what they're learning. You know what I mean?
Do you have
Like
siblings?
I do. I have an older brother. I'm a middle child, so I have an older brother. I have a younger sister. Yeah.
And what's your relationship like with them?
Good. Yeah. Older brother. I mean, obviously, older brother is a little, he was kind of like, I'll be honest, the, not the bad apple, but, he was always the one that was kind of, kind of doing his own thing.
Black
It's
sheep?
just, yeah, along with some of my other cousins, you know what I mean? Black sheep of the family. We have a big family. So if you want to speak about family, 1 out of 3. My dad's 1 out of 13. My mom's 1 out of 12. We have almost like 42 first cousins.
Wow.
Yeah, so like we're we're,
Wow.
we're a big family,
That's a huge
um,
family.
huge family, and I guess it's kind of typical for a Filipino family, but yeah, they're good. Yeah, I think it's not as strange or anything like that. I just spoke to my brother a couple days ago. I spoke to my sister. She's in New Jersey. She has a daughter, so I have a niece. My brother has a couple of kids. So it's good. Would I like it to be better? Absolutely, but it is what it
Yeah,
is.
I did notice that Filipinos tend to have, happy and healthy families, siblings get along, parents get along. I did tend to notice that Filipinos tend to be, happy and healthy
More family oriented, yeah.
because
Yeah,
Filipinos are very family oriented.
absolutely. Yeah. But of course you have your Thanksgiving dinners where there's some drama, you know what I mean? But
Politics related.
mostly politics. My whole not to get into it, but my whole dad side is all Republicans, right? Whatever you want to call
Uh-huh.
it. My
Uh-huh.
dad is super, super, you know, Democrat. I don't know.
Uh-huh.
Whatever. Again, I don't know. It's we have signs. I think no religion, no politics, and I think that's pretty much it.
No, I think that's a great rule at Thanksgiving. I don't think that, the last thing I would want is any sort of drama at
At
Thanksgiving
Thanksgiving, right? It
or
should
in,
just
in
be
general. In
right.
general, I don't like drama in general.
Yeah, yeah. No, it's but it happens. It's tough, but especially when you have a big family.
So I actually really, really like meeting stories. I would like to know, how did you meet your wife?
Oh, great story. uh, I wish she can be here for it. But
You can call her over if you want.
I don't know. She's putting my little one to sleep.
Okay.
Well, maybe we'll see. But all right. I was actually with someone, like another Filipina, and whatever year it was, I think it was 2008, 2009, probably like the end of 2009. And my cousin, who's also in real estate, he works for State Farm right now, called me and was like, "Listen, we're going out. It's our friend's party," and I was like, "No, I'm good. I want to stay here." I was in Queens at the time with another person, and according to her, same kind of situation. Like her friends were kind of telling her, "Hey, listen, it's this person's party." So that person's birthday was our mutual friend.
Okay.
She was being dragged out. I was being dragged out. We were both saying, "No, no, no, we're not trying to go." And long story short, we were both dragged out to this party, which was a great party. Obviously, it was a lot of people, a lot of our mutual friends. It was actually in Foxwood, in Connecticut.
Oh, wow.
We told it in our wedding, and it was like a suite out of like Hangover. It was a huge suite. 40, 50 plus people having a good time, and I was there first. She walks in. She came in. She was already, I guess they were already kind of maybe partying, drinking before. So were we. So whatever, we all get introduced to each other, and it was some point before we went out to like the club or the casino, and this is just to put it in perspective of like, or I don't want to age ourselves, but I think it was like Blackberries at the time, or it was one of those phones.
Okay.
It was around that time, right?
Blueberry.
Yeah, I had a Blackberry. She had a Blackberry, and I think it was dying. And she was like, "Does anyone have a charger?" And they were, "Oh yeah. Chase has a charger," and then I was charging my phone at the time, and she comes over, like just assuming I'm going to give her a charger, and I was like, "Can't you see I'm charging my phone?" You know what I mean? So, yeah. She's gonna tell a different story, but so long story short, yeah, I was like, yeah, give me a few minutes, whatever. But what I'm trying to say is, I obviously took a liking to her when she came over. In my head, I didn't say anything out loud. Apparently, she also did, but in the same way, he was like, oh, but he's also kind of like a dick. You know what I mean?
Wait, who said that?
Like that's what she says. Not like,
Oh, okay.
no, like he was nice, he was cute, whatever.
Okay.
But he didn't want to give me his charger. So it's little things like that. But whatever. I think I ended up giving her like the charger. She charged it. Then like, all right, let's go, guys. Let's go out. We all left the room. We all went down, and I love it to this day because every time that song comes on, so whatever, we just kind of stuck together as we were walking with friends, and and a song came on, which is the Black Eyed Peas. Shout out to the Filipino dude in Black Eyed Peas. Tonight's gonna be a good night. That song, like it was playing throughout the casino, and then I start singing it. She starts singing. I'm like, so I start trying to out sing her. So it was like back and forth throughout the night. You know what I mean? And it was like, it was almost like elementary. Like, yeah, she's annoying, he's annoying, but not really. I kind of want to hang out more. You know what I mean? So we met again through mutual friends in Connecticut at Foxwood at a mutual friend's birthday party, and I can go into more detail, but it was the next day we both rode home together from Connecticut to Long Island, and needless to say, the rest was history.
Well, you know what's hilarious to me is so many relationships and marriages, the meeting story starts with the guy being a dickhead to the girl. And like I noticed that. And then for some reason they end up getting married.
Right. Yeah. And of course I didn't mean to be. I was truly charging my phone. And you can't just come up to me and say I need a charger. Like
right.
So
does she still do that today?
What's that?
Does she still do that today? Does she still bother you for your charges today?
No, not really. I think we have more than enough charges, but she does other things that are a little comparable to that.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, but yeah, no, there's things that, of course, I think in any marriage, any relationship, there's gonna be things that I always send her things on like on TikTok or whatever. Like if your partner is not the most annoying person, right? Like I'm sure you've seen it on like TikTok. If he's not doing this, if she's not doing that, then that's not marriage. You know what I mean? Like you have to. There's no perfect, like you wake up and like of course you want to do that, but like there's always going to be something. And if that person's not if that person doesn't bother you in a way, but like bother not in a way where like you're like I want to kill this person or whatever, but like there has to be some sort of annoyance there, for because I think
it's spicy.
When you love someone like that person, if you didn't love that person, like, oh, that person's annoying, who cares? I'll just leave it alone. You actually get mad or you get frustrated because you love that person. You know what I mean?
So let's talk about the keys to marriage. What are, because I'm not married, you're married. What are the keys to marriage in your?
I don't qualify for that, Christian, but all right, that's right.
You've been married long enough. How long have you been married now?
Oh, married. Okay, so together for about 14 years, engaged for like 1 year, but married. I think this year is going on 7 or 8. Again, don't quote me.
You sound qualified to me, man.
Yeah. I think yes.
All right. What are the keys to marriage? What is number one?
It's gonna sound cliche, but and she agrees with it because at one point, for me growing up, I was very, I like to hold stuff in, right? I like to try to fix a problem first before like even addressing it. So I think the first thing is with your partner, no matter what, bad or good, communication.
Mm-hmm.
No matter what, if it's like something, if it's money, if it's something happened, like if something is not going well with work or something happened, I think you just have to always, like, she should be, he or she should be that person that you can confide in and just be open about, whether she's gonna hate you or hit you or do whatever. Like, communication, I think
If
is
you don't
I
communicate, then the resentment just stays inside, right?
absolutely, yeah. And then you just kind of keep, you kind of keep digging yourself in a bigger hole. I think the first thing you should do is just be honest and open and communicate. You know what I mean? And then you guys figure it out from there. So number one is definitely communication, and then there's other things after that. Yeah.
I think a big one also is apologizing even when you're right.
Yeah. What, the happy wife, happy life?
Yeah, like like because I obviously have had girlfriends, and I've reached the point where I sometimes even when I'm right, I still apologize just.
Okay, so yeah, so I think that goes with like choosing your battles,
Uh-huh.
right?
Yep. Yep.
Yeah, like even if you know you're right and you can win this argument, I think you should just swallow your pride and bite your tongue.
Yes.
Yeah, I agree, and we do that. Yeah, absolutely. So that's swallowing your pride, biting your tongue, picking your battles. Those are all things that I think you should consider. Not all the time. I think if if there's something that you're very adamant about, absolutely you should speak your mind, because I
Of
don't,
course. Of course.
she shouldn't want you to be someone that just kind of shoves everything under the rug.
Yeah.
Like, you have to be open and vocal. But yeah, I definitely think in a marriage, and or even not a marriage, just a relationship, you should definitely pick your battles. If it's not, like, don't just fight because you're an alpha, you know what I mean, and you want to win that battle. So
I think choosing a Filipino is a pretty good advice for relationships.
huh.
I think that choosing a Filipino is for a partner is pretty good advice.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah. They'll definitely keep you in
Don't we
check.
make the best partners, Chase?
Yeah, I would think so. I would like to think that. Yeah, absolutely. But it's not just that. Like, it's they're like I said, family oriented. We come from good core values
Yeah.
and good backgrounds and upbringing. So I think it's definitely a good choice in terms of you know a wife.
It's not too often that I hear about a Filipino cheating. I never really hear that too often.
There was a poll or a toll or some sort of whatever on social media. I don't know how credible it is, but
Uh-huh.
yeah, they're like the top five ethnicities or nationalities that don't cheat. Filipino was number one.
I don't know. I don't know if I can name a single Filipino
They're
that cheats.
they're a little, they're I think it's, yeah, I don't know. I guess I would say it's just
It's
loyal.
not in
Yeah.
our blood. It's not in our blood.
Yeah. It's like, yeah, exactly. And it's not a religious thing and nothing. I just, if they are, they're just gonna tell you, and it's done. It's not gonna be like they're gonna try to have their cake and eat it too. You know what I mean? So
Right.
yeah, I agree. Yeah.
So I'm wondering, because I know you're a realtor, I know your wife is a nurse, I know you have three daughters. I'm just
Yeah.
wondering how you juggle all of it. Like, I know you told me your morning routine, so I guess waking up at 5 a.m. definitely helps with the juggling.
Yeah. Yeah. Help. My in-law is my father-in-law is still in the area. My parents are still here. We have cousins, aunts. So in terms of, God forbid, I have to be somewhere, she has to be somewhere. We have a good support system. And I don't know if that's with everyone, um, but we don't solely rely on that. Like, we do it ourselves. Like, next week we're going to my daughter's made it to nationals. Congrats to them. So we're going up to Rochester. Fortunately, it was Thursday, Friday, Saturday, so work is not really affected, but you know we make it work, man. Multiple cars, friends that carpool, like, we just, yeah, it's, I give props, and I give credit to a lot of single parents,
Yeah.
with no family, that have multiple kids, and they still do it. So we're a family, we're together, and we have help, and so yeah. But it is stressful between work and being a chauffeur to them. but I make it work. She makes it work. We make it work together. I can't really, and then other parents, I'm sure they can agree. You just have to do what you have to do.
And how do you cope with all that stress? How do you de-stress?
Uh, de-stress. Just honestly, like, coming back and unwinding. Maybe again, listen, having
I was gonna say that.
having a glass of whiskey, talking to my parents, and honestly, even just like laying with my little one, like on the couch and watching TV, like that's to me that's great. Or when they go to sleep, just kind of just doing kind of my own thing. Um, there is some obviously some workout stuff that I need to do more of, but people say I hit the gym, I hit that. Yeah, that stuff is good, but I think it's just kind of like not looking at your phone, just kind of maybe if you have a favorite show, just kind of watching your favorite show, but just quiet, peace, and just relaxing.
What
Honestly,
shows do you watch, if you don't mind me asking? What do you watch?
right now, what are we watching right now? Dance Moms, which is I don't know for some reason it's like a guilty pleasure. Dance Moms on Hulu. It's I mean they all grew up to be great dancers, but it's because of I was the dance dad at one point, and they're in gymnastics. It's like a reality show of dancers. But before that, like before the kids, me and my wife would binge on like 24, like we a lot of those type of movies. Um, what else? Prison Break, Lost.
Oh, I
Um,
love Lost.
there's one that I think I just finished, Paradise on Hulu. Well, I'm open to anything that kind of piques my interest. You know,
Yeah, so let's talk about. I really like the topic of marriage. Can we talk a little bit more about marriage?
absolutely,
So,
absolutely.
because I mean, the divorce rate is like 50, 60%, and I'm just,
And
yeah, it's ridiculous, and I'm
And I
just,
think it was higher, right, during COVID, and
yeah,
it was super high. Like divorce attorney, like I have friends that are divorce attorneys. Like we were super busy during COVID, and I don't
yeah,
know if that was a good, like that's like a blessing in disguise, or like because we were like locked down with your partner, and had it not been for COVID, would that have been maybe like prolonged, or but
yeah.
a lot of people said if COVID didn't happen, I don't like. I think it was great that it happened because I saw who that person was truly like. So that's kind of like I don't know. It's kind of weird to to use that, but I guess it was meant to happen.
Apparently. Well, one question that I have though is, as you progress in your marriage, how has it changed? Has it gotten better? Has it gotten worse? Has it gotten more annoying? Has it gotten easier to forgive? What is it like throughout the years? How has it changed throughout the years?
All right, that's a tough question, Chris. But
Take your time, no rush.
it's definitely. Of course, you have that. Remember, in the beginning, you have girlfriends, right? Like you have that first year, second year, even where I had an apartment in New Jersey at the time. She would come over, and you just don't want to do anything. You don't care about anything. You don't care about work. You just have that new relationship feeling. I don't care who you are today. That's going to be the first year, second year, maybe third year, most likely 2 years. And then it doesn't get boring. It just, you know, it just progresses in a way where you're not content, but you're used to kind of like being with that person, and it's still fun. And maybe you do things that to try to not. I don't want to say we force things, but it's never going to be like that first year. When you're
Butterflies.
yeah, and everyone will agree to that. Like that first year, no matter what, like you're before you see her. I don't care if it's like you're just going out to meet for a drink or dinner, or even she's coming. Like you want to make sure you have no eye boogers, nothing. Like you're just gonna always be on point and make sure that like it's almost like you're meeting for the first time. And that definitely carried on to like our second year. But after that, it was more like, all right, we're this is definitely something long term. We can definitely see it, growing. Um, but it roller coaster. I mean, the perfect word is a roller coaster. You had your moments. Maybe there was some. I don't want to say jealous. insecurities, but jealousy maybe. But you always just said, you know what, all right, if it's meant to be, it's meant to be. I had those moments. I'm sure she did, but definitely it was an up and down kind of roller coaster. Again, I think it was all good because it was someone that I can see myself. I saw myself being with, right? So it wasn't like, all right, I don't really care what she's doing because I'll just go with I'll find another person. No, I cared because this is someone that I introduced to my parents and my family. So I wanted it to be, I didn't want whatever you might have been thinking. I might have been thinking at the time to be true. You know what I mean? But yeah, it was definitely up and down. It's still great. We still have that. We still try to do our date nights. But it's definitely been up and down because you kind of I don't want to. I don't know. Kids maybe obviously get involved, and that becomes a little bit more stressful. But I think that only makes you stronger. And we definitely pushed through some tough times, financially, physically, emotionally, and everything. But obviously, we're still here. 3 kids, three beautiful daughters later. But I don't think. I think it's bullshit when someone says, we're the perfect and we never fight. Like I think it was like Swiss Beats and Alicia Keys that said, we haven't argued in like 15 minutes or 15 years. And I think that could be true to an extent, but
15 years is a long time.
yeah, but they're also a different type of rich. You know what I mean? Like there's things that she does, like socks on the floor, maybe dishwasher, like whatever it is. Swiss Beats and Alicia Keys, they have people doing that for them. You know what I mean? So they're probably not, they're probably more disagreeing than actually like having an argument. You know what I mean? But I think it's normal. I think it's natural. I think it's healthy to have arguments. I think it only makes you stronger, and I think it's good to kind of make sure that you never go to sleep angry at each other, and you guys
Yeah.
work it.
So what do you do when you have two different ideas on how to do with your children? Like if one wants to, I don't know. I can't really think of an example, but maybe like you wanted to send her to this school and your wife wants to send her to this school, or maybe, I can't
Yeah.
really think of a good example, but
No,
what do you
that's
do?
actually a common thing. Obviously, we're on Long Island. I think we both agree that here with their group of friends and their school right now, obviously there's other towns in Long Island that are better.
Uh-huh.
But I think, well, we definitely had a discussion of moving to Florida, moving to Texas, even looked at houses. But I think not because you know like if at the end of the day, like just because they have a good group of friends and we're worried about them like hating us if we move, that's not it. If we want to move, we're moving.
Right.
I think it's good where we're at. Yeah, it's expensive. Can we take our income and our knowledge and our skill sets and our and what we do? And because she could easily be a nurse, in Texas or Florida.
But as a realtor, you would have to start from the bottom as a
Well,
realtor.
remember, I told you when I first said, like, reciprocity. Also, the firm I'm with, we're licensed in 13, I think 4 states. So New
Oh, you
Jersey.
did tell me that. Yeah, yeah.
So I can, again, flipping houses, like we do. I'm not traditional. We flip houses, we buy, we do a lot of stuff. So I can easily do that there. And if I need to get a sales job, dude, I'll get one. I even just as a tester, I put it out there, dude. I can easily get 100,000, 150,000. And remember, cost of living down south is a lot cheaper.
Yeah.
So but we never pulled the trigger because again, it's not because they have friends here and they're gonna have to. No, it's not that. Yeah, I think if you do consider moving, it should probably be at a younger age. Um, but I think New York is home for us, bro. You know what I mean? And I think
But your parents are here too.
and our parents are here, but it doesn't matter. They would
That doesn't
follow.
matter.
Yeah. So those type of disagreements. I think at the end of the day, we talk about it. We weigh out the pros and cons, and we both end up with the same.
But what happens when you don't end up with the same answer? Then what happens?
Well, what in terms of moving or in
In
terms
terms
of
of anything. In terms of anything.
well, it happens, bro. I mean, we have to compromise. We have to. I don't know. Maybe I don't want to say school. I think we're pretty much on the same board in terms of education. Um, Even with like their extracurricular activities, like with gymnastics and dance, like I think it's usually like I don't know. It's like, yeah, like I said, I can't think of anything right now, but if it does happen, it, I we bump heads, right? But then take a step back and compromise, and make a decision that's best for the family.
It's interesting because you haven't been in the dating world in many, many years. So I don't think you know what it's like. Do you
What
know,
is
like,
no?
what do you hear? Because it's a
I,
mess
well,
out there.
no, I have friends, and she has friends that are super like successful, an
Uh,
attorney,
uh,
and I've tried to, set them up.
that
It's
never goes well.
Yeah, I don't know. I hear that it's tough right now to find love. You know what I mean? Quote unquote. Yeah.
The
I
thing
don't
is,
know.
everyone is looking for the next thing. Everyone is looking for someone with more money, better looking, more mentally healthy, taller. Like everyone's
Yeah.
looking for the next thing. You know what I'm saying?
Right. 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 Yeah. I mean, and it goes for business and everything. It's the grass isn't always greener. I'm not saying you should settle, right? But I think you should not even
Realize
settle
that
or
nobody's
lose.
perfect.
Right. Yeah, you have a checklist, right? And all these dating apps, you have to come from an Ivy League school, X amount of income. Listen, are you going to find that person? And when you do, he might have all that. But is he a good lover? Is he a good, like, there's always going to be something else that
Will always
offsets.
be a flaw.
Right. Exactly. So I just think you should, and I hate to say lower your standards, but I think you should be realistic. You know what I mean? Like a lot of
Yes. No, that's a good way to put it.
yeah, a lot of
Realistic expectations.
exactly. And just look for someone that's going to be there with you, and if you do have kids, that's going to be a great father or a great mother. That's it. Stop looking for, like, well, I make X amount, he needs to make this. No, why don't you just say, listen, I make this, he makes that, together we make that, combined.
And
I
there's a
think.
lot of lying out there, man. A lot of lying about
Oh,
feelings, lying about salaries, just
oh
lying,
my God, the lying about
lying.
looks. Even tonight, someone that I knew was telling me that he just got catfished again.
Oh my God.
I Like, the picture that he saw was 4 or 5 years old easily, and they actually met up, and all her friends, like usually how it is, beautiful bombshells, tens, and the person that he was interested in was a complete, you know, complete
Three, three.
whatever. I don't know. It just, like, that was like, it's not even like slightly off. It was like, are you really serious? Like, you really put a picture up when you were five? This was 5 years ago.
So what did he do? Did he walk away? What did he do?
He did. Not right away,
I
but
wouldn't. I wouldn't walk away.
no, he didn't do that right away. Of course, he was just like, listen, that's there is some false pretense there, and there was some misleading, I think, he said. But at the end of the day, like, he did bring friends with him, and his friends got along with her friends. But at the end of the day, like, that wasn't cool on her part. You know what I mean?
It wasn't cool on her part. I'm just way too nice. Like I would have just talked. Like I wouldn't
I,
have brought it up.
I think that's what he did, ultimately. But there was definitely no second date. You know what I mean? Like,
Well, that makes sense. Yeah. I mean
yeah,
that was really messed up on her part. Like that's like me putting a picture when I was 20, like that's
right. Yeah, that is you, but that's not you now. And again, okay, what, you gain some extra weight, you know what I mean? But you know what? I don't know. Catfishing is, if it's like you put a picture of a completely different girl, that's different. But if it's you 10 years ago and if this is you now, it's still you. But I guess it was.
But remember, people are very shallow. Like people care about every little
I
thing,
was gonna say,
every
like,
little thing.
that they are shallow in the sense. So that's in the first 15 seconds of looking at a profile picture or even meeting a person, that's what they're going off of. But
And I'm willing to bet that no matter what happens, if your wife gained 100 pounds, you would still love her.
yeah, I would like, babe, listen, we gotta do something about this together. But
But you
that's
wouldn't leave her.
that's
You
still
wouldn't
her.
leave her.
That's still the mother of my children, bro. You
And
know
then,
what I mean?
that's the way the world is now, though. Like now they gain 50 pounds out the door. You know what I'm
Oh
saying?
yeah, absolutely. Oh yeah, there's still, even after, I've heard stories, like, even after 7, 8 years of dating and even being married, if she's not maintaining the look that he initially fell in love with or even was attracted to, that's it. and they start straying away, which is, that's a whole another, the straying.
Yeah, so I have a question because, to me, it seems like you've had a very, very happy, you seem like a very happy, very healthy person. Did you ever have any like dark periods in your life?
Yeah, yeah,
Do you want to
yeah.
talk about that?
Yeah, like, there's times where like dark in terms of like,
Mental health, let's say.
I don't want to say, uh, I think there's always an aspect of, or an element or aspect of like a little bit, depressed, and I could have done this, I could have done that differently. Never full on like, super depressed. We're taking, medication for it,
Okay.
but there's definitely things that I kind of look back at and like, if this, if I did this differently. But again, I'm a firm believer of like, have no regrets. I think God gives. I think, you're in a position where you are, where I am now, for a reason. Nothing super dark like that. And unfortunately, I do have some friends and family that have been, in a super dark place where they got into to heavy drugs and alcohol, and
Addiction.
possibly committed, possibly, suicide attempts, like all that stuff. But honestly, never. Not that I think, not that suicide. I know that it's a sin, and to even think about it, like, I think that's worse than, I think, that's, to leave your family behind, even if, we have a great life insurance policy, all that stuff, leaving them in money and make sure that, like, but just, I can never leave my kids, like, you know what I mean? Like, I would never even think about that. I think that's a super sin, like, just like, that's the easy way out, But yeah, dark times in terms of like, like, oh, I wish maybe if I never had kids, things would be better. But I'm, again, firm believer of like, God doesn't give you things that you can't handle,
Because,
So
I do have friends right now who sometimes say like, life might have been easier if I didn't have kids. I have friends
I,
who say that.
yeah, we even talk about it now. Would it be easier? Yes. Financially, absolutely. We'd be traveling, of course. Three girls, one in private school, one, just all these extra, like, of course. But that's not wrong to say. But we're here, right? We're with our kids. What are we gonna do? You know what I mean? Like, we just got to do it.
Yeah.
So
I mean, it's not wrong to feel. It's a natural feeling, isn't it? It's a natural way.
absolutely.
Yeah. And I feel like
What?
there are a lot of parents feeling that nowadays.
What? It's natural to feel what?
Natural to feel like, life might have been easier if I didn't have kids. That's a natural
Yeah.
feeling, isn't it?
Oh no, yeah, absolutely. Of course, I'm sure that runs through a lot of people's head,
Yeah.
But there's definitely there's no going back, right? There's no going back from that. We're here, and we definitely would never, like, we can't see ourselves without our girls. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So I also noticed that you mentioned the word regret because I've been having a lot of regret lately. Like I've been thinking a lot about like I could have done this better, I could have done that better in my
Right.
20s, in my early 30s. I've been having a lot of regret lately. So what is your response to that?
To regret?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think, trying to have no regrets, but it's just talking about it. It's not gonna, we don't have a time machine. I can say, yeah, if I did this instead of that, if I pursued this career instead of that career, if I went for in this field, what are we gonna do? There's no way I can go back and change it, So I can only just kind of just learn from it, and move forward, and not having it. I can't, like, I don't know who told me or what the saying was, but it's not just not try not to have any regrets. I just think it's, you're dealt the cards you're with. You got to make the best of it, and even that sounds kind of, depressing. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like,
Yeah.
no, like, it's not like, this is my life. We chose to have kids. We chose to stay here and live here, and you know what I mean, and buy this car and buy that, and so we made those choices. No one forced us. I hate when people say like, oh, I was tricked into. Maybe there is some truth to like those kind of situations where like, oh, I initially when we met, I thought he was this. Well, like, that could be true, But at the end of the day, like you stayed with him long enough, and you saw who he was, you saw his family, like, and you decided this, you chose to stay. So that's what it is. You don't say, oh, I never signed up for this. Like, to me, that's bullshit. You know what I mean? Like,
To me, so you're saying you should have saw it.
I think so. I think in the first couple of years, even, you know what I mean? Like, like I definitely, like, didn't hold, like, of course, like I said, the first year, first couple months, like, you're not going to try to be like, like, not disgusting, but like, like you try to hold back things and say certain things, but at the over time, you just start doing things, and you just start to get comfortable. And I think, if that's something that raises a flag for someone, then you address it at that point. But if you choose to stay, then you're okay with it.
Yeah,
um,
I did a mental health podcast with my aunt a few weeks ago, and her ex actually had narcissistic personality disorder. But
okay.
in the very beginning, for like the first 1 or 2 years, I don't know how long, he just hid it, and she had no idea. He was very nice, he was very courteous, and she had no idea until later on, once they were married, that he had NPD. It's crazy, like people hide so much in the beginning.
They're able to kind of, wow, that for how long?
Oh, well, I don't know. I don't know. I know they got married. I don't know exactly how long until she realized. I mean, I know that she saw a therapist, and then that's when she realized that he had NPD, and then they did get divorced. But
Wow,
it was a while that he had NPD, and he was hiding it, and he was just being nice, and she couldn't tell.
interesting.
Well, a lot of people are just really good actors, you know?
Yeah. Well, I think, yeah, I guess, yeah, I think time will tell, but I guess if you're that good,
Yeah.
yeah, that's tough. That's tough. Unfortunately, they end up getting divorced. Yeah, that's I think any flaws that I have, like, that was, she saw that second, third year, fourth year, like, you know what I mean? Like, if she chose not, like, if she said no, I'm not having it, then it would have been done. You
Do
know what
you
I mean?
guys talk about each other's flaws? Do you talk about it?
Dude, all the time, all the time.
And then,
Is she,
like,
if anything more, if
has there
anything,
been
she knows.
progress?
I think so. Yeah, yeah. For example, for I guess I said for me it was communication. Little white lies, and again, I'll be upfront with it. If she was here, yeah, there was things that, she's like, listen, at the end of the day, like, if you just open and just be upfront with me, yeah, I might still be mad, but at least, communicate with me. You know what I mean? Instead of holding it in and bottling it up. Yeah. But we definitely do talk about that. Like, even my tone, even, raising my voice, because obviously that will throw her day off. So there's definitely things that, we say, listen, babe, we talked about this. Try harder next time, not to escalate, to raise your voice, because we're both like alphas almost, you know what I mean? So if I raise my voice, she's not gonna be like a puppy and stop. She's gonna raise her voice back. So it's tough. Like, our personalities, and again, we're definitely opposite, but I think opposites attract.
Well, you said you're both alphas.
Yeah, yeah.
You're not that opposite, I guess.
No, I guess not. Yeah. But no, there's definitely times where, it's like, almost like I said, pick your battles. Like, biting my tongue is definitely something that I'm trying to work on, and same with her. you know but at the end, we try to walk out of the room, take a breath, talk about it, and then come back. But
Yeah, well, when you both agree on the flaw, then that's when it's actually easy. When it's hard is when you don't
when you
agree.
disagree,
When she says that you have one flaw and you disagree, or the other way around, if you say she has a flaw and then she disagrees, that's what makes it really hard, in my opinion.
well, I think that's someone with, I don't know if it's someone with, like, whatever condition. Like, I mean, there's been a few times where I'm like, I don't agree. You know what I mean? Like, but for the most part, she's right. Do I tend to raise my voice when it's nothing serious? Yeah. So, like, for the most part, if she points something out, yes, I'll get defensive, but I'm like, let me see. Yeah, she could be right. You know what I mean? So, yeah. But what's the saying? What type of person is that when they completely? I don't want to say narcissist. Like, they completely say you're absolutely, like, narcissist, right? I think it's when they never take the blame for anything.
Narcissist, yep.
Yeah. So I don't want to say, like, I even have a slight bit of that, but there's been times I'm like, what, really? That's who I am. then I'll sit back and think like, all right, she could be right, so let me
So it
work
sounds like she helps you grow. Like she helped you learn. She helped you
a
grow.
hundred, 1,000%, brother, 1,000%. And I hope you could do a podcast with her soon. And she's, again, she's stuck with me through ups and downs and this and that. And she'll call me out. She'll say, yeah, that's not who you are. Why are you speaking like that? Like, come on. Like, she knows me. Like, my family. So yeah, I think
Well,
that's good.
Filipinos are known to be emotional.
Super, dude. I walk in, she's just watching like a comedy, and she's crying.
Yeah.
Watching like a teleserie. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Like, um,
But we
but
also love very hard, don't we?
hard,
We love
super,
very hard.
super hard. I think, and yeah, I think that's what we're trying to kind of instill in our kids. A lot of our culture, our values, and like how it is. But it's a different. It's not the Philippines, right? We're here in America. It's different. You know.
You sound like a
But
great father to me, man.
thank you. So, yeah, I think I think I'm doing a decent job. You know what I mean? Like, and it's not just, and then again, it's not just provide. Yes, of course, it's providing. Of course, it's being there. Like I said, like I left, like my whole office was there today, the owner, and as much as I wanted to stay, I looked at I put it in my ways to see how long it would take to get from main event to the school. Yeah, it was a little late, but those are things that we can't think, like those events he'll have all the time. He's having another one on the 8th, so
Right.
her last concert. So I think those things are good. Are as a father, like that's when you need to show up, not just like, oh, FaceTime me, or you know what I mean, like take some video. No,
The big events.
yeah, yeah, she's gonna remember that I wasn't there. You know what I mean?
20
Like,
years from now, 30 years from now, 40 years from now, she'll remember that you were there.
absolutely, yeah. And I think and I think because I have girls, I think it's more. Maybe if I had boys, it'd be different. But even them, I think, at this age, they look out into the audience. Where's mom? Where's dad? You know what I mean? And
Boys need love
unfortunately,
too, man.
huh?
Boys need love too.
Absolutely, yeah. Especially their mom, and like I said, like those single parents out there. I give them props. I give them credit. It's tough. You
And I give
know,
you credit because, being a father to three girls, like that's a tough job, man, because what we're not females, so we're still like we don't know females as well as females know females,
yeah.
Yeah,
Yep.
that's a tough job, man.
Yeah, dude. And I'm still learning every day, bro. Like, obviously, she just left. My 12-year-old. My wife is like, listen, she's, her body's changing. She's going through hormones, and I'm like, what? Like, for me, it's just like if I hear like a certain tone or like an attitude or like I don't think like, okay, she's almost a teenager. Like, I automatically react. So parenting, that's a whole other, I think, topic and podcast. But like, I'm still learning every day, and I live
You're
with
still
girls.
accepting
Yeah,
accepting
dude,
the fact
dude,
that she's growing
I'm
up.
from my wife to my kids to my dog. I'm outnumbered. Hashtag. That's one of my sweaters.
Yeah.
I'm surrounded by females. Even my dogs are females. So I have to get used to this, bro. I have to learn how things are. They're going into middle school and high school, and I remember how we were, and it's tough to say like they're growing up, but
Them hormones are coming, man.
dude, and it's it's
Hormones.
it's it's scary and it's frustrating and I have to just remind myself like, oh shit, all right, she's not like my 5-year-old, my 4-year-old, like my baby before. Like, she's gonna go through stuff,
They're getting crushes now. They're getting feelings.
Oh
They're
yeah,
getting
yeah,
jealousy. They're
yep.
gonna start wearing makeup soon. All
Oh,
that.
that is every
Out of the
day.
question.
No, that's and again, I don't know. I think it's sometimes too much, but that's what they like, and I said, listen, at the end of the day, man, maybe monetize it. Like they have all these Sephora products and skin products, and their friends do it. I don't think but I don't want it to be a priority. I want them to. All right, listen, there's nothing wrong with having we're Asian. You know what I mean? Like, there's nothing wrong with taking care of your skin. But at the same time, like, that's not you're not gonna your day's not gonna go it's not gonna go south, or because you didn't you didn't apply this type of whatever product on your face. You know what I mean? Like, it's cool. Take care of your skin. Nothing wrong with that. Hygiene is next to God. Cleanliness is next to godliness. But at the same time, like, I want them to focus on their school. They're especially right now, like, they're in gymnastics. I want them to focus on that.
Well, remember, for kids, reputation in school is everything.
Yes, that's
Don't you remember like when you were in high school, like wasn't reputation everything?
100%. Having the fresh pair of kicks, having that, so that's what I'm saying. I can't knock them. They're going to go through that, but the, I think the fortunate part for us is, we're not really old parents. Like, we do have some friends that are older, so I kind of get it. And it is, times have changed a little bit, but yeah, that feeling of like waking up and having like, yeah, like going to school and having a good group of friends and like, having a certain amount, like new Uggs or whatever it is, like shoes or whatever it is. I get it.
Or
But
new boyfriend?
yeah, I can't stop it. And then, the more you try to stop it, the more they're gonna try to,
It's
you
true.
know,
I actually wasn't allowed to have a girlfriend in high school.
really.
Even though I had one, I wasn't
Oh,
allowed.
well, yeah, of course, yeah. You can't have one, or the same thing. I had a high school girlfriend, and they allowed it eventually because she was Filipino, I was Filipino. Like, the families knew each other.
That
But
helped.
even
Yeah.
then, when I was at the house, never in the room, never closed doors. Like, so it was,
Yep.
and I think that's good. And if that happens, we're just gonna deal with it. But yeah, we're definitely gonna.
I mean, when it happens, when it
When it
happens.
happens, it's gonna happen. Yeah.
Yeah.
We're going to implement those things that were done to us. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, don't think you're going to be over at his house,
At 2 a.m.
sleeping over. No, no. Like, you're here and you're not in your room. You're in the living room, and we're watching you. You know what I mean? I think that's there's nothing wrong with that. I think that's just Asian parents, I guess, or Filipino parents. Um, it's just
Well,
not right.
one thing about Filipinos is we're not like other Asians, and I'm not trying to offend anybody, but you know how a lot of Asian cultures are like super, super, super strict and super hard on their kids and very like money, 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 money,
Yep.
money.
Yep.
Filipinos aren't really like that, you know?
They are to an extent, but again, they're not like we have Chinese friends, like, you know, this is what you're gonna be if you don't do this. Like, it's
I
crazy.
never got that from my parents. I never got that.
No, me neither. They, of course, listen, do good, do decent, don't get into trouble, make right choices,
Marry a
finish.
Filipina.
Yeah. Preferably. But you're right. You were not like the Japanese and the Chinese, and again,
Right.
all those friends, and they're growing up there. They were super strict, man. But
And it really traumatizes a lot
yeah,
of children.
it
Traumatize.
does. That's what I'm saying. I think it does more harm than good.
Oh,
You know what I
way
mean?
more harm. Way more
Yeah,
harm. I mean, it
absolutely.
might mean more money, maybe, but you
But
can't
you're not
you
you're
can't
not
put
gonna
a
be
price on self-esteem.
right. There's somewhere in there that's like, okay, yes, I became that doctor, lawyer, whatever my parents want to be, but there's somewhere in there there's something somewhere in there that's gonna cause you to be go crazy somehow. You know what I mean? Like, it's just something. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean it you like I said, you can't, self-loathing, it causes self-loathing and it's never worth the
Yeah.
money. So Chase, I kind of ran out of questions. Is there anything else you want to say?
Oh, no. I mean, no, I think we covered a good amount, right? What do you think? I mean,
Yeah, I mean I kind of ran out of questions. It seems like you're a pretty happy person.
yeah. Listen. Don't take that. Listen. Happy again. Everyone's definition of happy is different, right?
Right, right.
Like, right now, I'm happy. Like, I woke up this morning. My kids woke up this morning. Went to work. Got some good deals. Went to an event. You know what I mean? Like, so that right there is great. I came home. Obviously, we're at the event, and you have some drinks, you come home. I went to my daughter's concert. To me, that's a happy day. You know what I mean?
It
um,
sounds like you're really good at appreciating the little things.
yeah. I wasn't always, but I think when you have kids and yeah, I think, yeah, man, what was it, the wealth part, like, we have to make a lot of like money this year. Yes, it's great, but I think once you get to yeah once you get to a point, you start to think like, all right, listen, it's not all about that. You have to really, you know, take time to take care of yourself and appreciate, the small things and the little things. You know what I
Yeah, I
mean?
mean, appreciating the little things is a very, very, very significant part of happiness. So, Chase and I are going to do a real estate podcast,
Yeah.
not
Yep.
today, but on another day. So,
Yeah.
so we can always do that. But it was great talking to you, man.
Absolutely, man. Thank you for having me, and this was great. And yeah, look forward to the next one,
The
and
next one
see
will be
you.
the real estate podcast.
Let's do it. Yeah,
All
let's do
right,
it, man.
boss. Thank you, man. Have a good night. I
All right,
appreciate you.
have a good night, man. Thank you, guys.
Take care. Good night.